Hey guys, how you doing? It's Coach Mitch here. I want to talk today about the DEA interview process and what they're looking for. But let's start with what they're not looking for. A lot of people come into my coaching program thinking that they're looking for a cop. They're not looking for a cop. Some think they're looking for a Secret Service type persona. They're not looking for that. DEA is very specific to DEA. You cannot go in there thinking, well, they're looking for a cop, looking for a Secret Service. They're not. If you walk in there like that, you're going to walk out without the badge because they're not going to handle that. They're looking for a specific type of persona. I've worked for 7 years all across the interview spectrum for federal law enforcement careers. The structure of the interview is like this. It's usually a structured interview panel. So you're going to have 3 or 4 DEA agents there who are going to interview you. It may seem casual to you, but don't play it for being casual. It's not a conversation. It's not casual. It is being scored from start to finish. And just like the Secret Service and the FBI, they're going for the behavioral type questions. This is a crux for all of these. So what do you mean by behavior, Coach Mitch? I mean leadership, conflict, decision-making, maturity, things of that nature. That's what they're going to go for. A lot of people get into this interview process or DEA process thinking the wrong things. They think it's about action, like law enforcement does these arrests and high pressure situations. That mindset's going to hurt you. I know this for the past 7 years. That's not what you want to focus on because they're not hiring DEA for the excitement. You're being hired for what? Investigation. That's what. If you know anything about investigation, it's a lot of what? Investigating. You're not out there running around and busting guys like you see in Hollywood movies and stuff like that. It's not about that. It's about patience, attention to detail, and focusing on the investigation from start to finish. That's what it's really about for DEA. During this process, they're listening to how you process information. In my coaching program, we go over this over and over because I want to make sure they understand when they listen to you as my client that you understand what's going on here and how you're carrying across your message to them. It's not just about what you did. It's also about how you made decisions that you made, how you analyze a situation. Oh, it's a huge one there, right? We definitely work on that. How you analyze your situation, then how you reach your conclusion. Your answers cannot be shallow. They must be deep and must be able to show that there was no rush at all in your answer, and it must show this to them immediately. This is the crux of their behavioral questions. This is what they want to see. In many law enforcement models, speed matters. In DEA, patience matters. This is what they're looking for, the patience. So what do you mean by that, Coach Mitch? It means they want to know, can you sit in on an investigation? Can you build a case? And then can you think long term? See, it's not this spontaneous 3 or 4 day deal. If your answers are fast action, you're missing what they're really evaluating because I do this all the time to you in my coaching program. I don't want these fast and loose answers. I want answers that show emotional maturity, mired in patience, of course, right? With an understanding of what the focus is and the mission of DEA is. Now, let's get down to it. Just like Secret Service, everything in DEA is also integrity based. I'm going to ask you ethical questions, just like Secret Service does too. Mistakes and also accountability. Those are heavy hitters for those 3, FBI, DEA, and Secret Service. We are all about the integrity-based type questions. In my program, I'm going to ask you this time and time again in different ways to make sure you understand. You cannot answer in a way that avoids responsibility, right? I want you to take responsibility. Or you cannot answer in a way that protects others, right? We can't have that. Those are red flags in this interview process. They want to hear you, being honest. That is what they're looking for. You don't need these big words. So many of my clients think they got to give me these big words or the panel wants to hear these big words. They don't. They don't need to hear that. All they want to hear is clear communication that's mission focused. They need to know you understand your thought process. Do you understand what needs to be done? Do you understand the mission? They want to know all of that about you when you're answering questions. If your answers are confusing are disorganized or hard to follow, you're losing points. You really are. Because if you're losing points with me, I know you're going to lose points with them. Even if you have this strong experience, right, you're still going to lose points. Another misconception I hear all the time is, do I need law enforcement experience to compete? No, you don't. My gosh, no. I've been getting people ready for the DEA interview for years. I've had people come from accounting backgrounds, military, of course, civilians with strong analytical skills, but not always police. I'm not sure why they always think that, but it's just not true. In fact, sometimes LEO has a harder time in DEA because they don't shift their mindset to investigation. Remember, this is about investigations. You're not running the street and, hey, you come here. It doesn't work that way. It's about patience, perseverance, and focus. Here's what makes the interview dangerous. You may walk out of there feeling confident and you still might not make it because the panel is not reacting to the way you think. Yeah, you feel good, right? But they're scoring your answers based on specific criteria. Criteria we go through in my coaching program where I delineate each thing they're looking for, and you have to be aligned to what they're looking for, or you will not be a fit for the moment. If you're serious about the DEA process for the interview, you need to be preparing yourself differently. This is not a volume hiring process like CBP. It is not. It's very specific. They're, shall we say, more selective. It's true, right? And they're looking for a more specific type of candidate. If you can shift your mindset from action to investigation and learn how to communicate that clearly, delineates, you know what's going on, and you have the patience for it, then you too can do that. This is where you start. This is where people start to understand that it's not about pure law enforcement, it's about investigation. If this is you and you want to get into the interview process and make sure you get out of the interview process intact and pass at a 90.4% success rate, think about clicking the link down below. Get into my calendar, get into my program. Let's start you off the right way. I'm going to show you the best that I can to understand the interview process for DEA. Take care, you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.